It was quite eye-opening being on the ground speaking to refugees and migrants as they got off the inflatable rafts they were on to travel from Turkey to Greece. The majority of them are from 3 countries: Syria, Afghanistan and Iraq. And I heard harrowing stories from refugees arriving from all 3 of those countries. Here's a look at what I learned from some of those who arrived while I was there.
Safety, trying to find a safe home.
25-year-old Ahmed Al-Ahdab speaks to Global News shortly after arriving on the shores of Lesvos on why he risked his life on an overcrowded dinghy in the middle of winter.
I'm not thinking about risking my life. I'm thinking about starting a new life.
Civil war forced Al-Ahdab and his family from their home in Syria. He and dozens of others traveling by boat from Turkey to Greece, the main entry point for refugees and migrants entering Europe. Volunteers from around the world, many working with small nonprofits, are there to greet and take care of those who arrive. Al-Ahdab and other refugees say it's much different from what they experienced in Turkey in the hands of smugglers.
Some of them paid $2,000 to get down here.
Kaiwan Faris Ahmed fled Iraq. Speaking through a translator shortly after arriving in Greece, he says this wound on his arm was inflicted by a smuggler.
Because he tried to ask them questions, because he thought that it wasn't safe to come around here. He wanted to go back. He tried to change his mind, but they hit him and said, no, you have to go to the boat.
It's cold. There's heavy winds creating large waves. Despite this, as you can see behind me, a boat full of refugees has just arrived to the shore. Dozens of volunteers here waiting to receive them.
And it's a perilous trip. The latest stats show in January alone, more than 360 died trying to cross the Mediterranean. In a particularly deadly final weekend of the month, more than 100 men, women and children died in the waters off Greece, Turkey and Italy. The IOM estimates that 60 children died on the so-called Eastern Mediterranean route in the past month. And the number of asylum seekers keeps growing. In January, more than 62,000 entered Europe through Greece. January's alarming numbers come as resistance to taking in more refugees and migrants grows across Europe, but as conditions remain desperate in Syria.
Syrians got very hard mindset. You can't convince them to stop crossing the water, to find a job, to find a family, to find a good home, to find a safe home.
Al-Ahdab predicts many more will continue making the dangerous trip across the Mediterranean and Aegean seas.
And Red Canada is now being asked to double its financial assistance to help ease the humanitarian crisis brought on by the nearly 5-year-old Syrian civil war. The request comes from British, German and Norwegian governments. And as for Ahmed, the Syrian refugee in my story there, he's made it to Germany and is staying in a refugee camp as we speak. He says he wants to eventually make it to Canada. Rick?
What an amazing scene it must be to see that for yourself, all those people arriving on shore. Thanks very much, and we'll continue your series tomorrow. And in fact, tomorrow, Neetu series continues with the story of a refugee from Afghanistan, a teacher who had to flee the Taliban.